Good morning and welcome. My name is Michael Bartlett, Master Metaphysical Astrologer, and welcome to my February 2024 astrological forecast. Please be aware that dates and times are approximate. Please adjust for your time on planet Earth. Most of the work that I do here on these monthly forecasts has to do what we call a fourth harmonic, which are the oppositions, squares, and conjunctions, which are the most challenging aspects in astrology and require a little more attention and effort to resolve. I want to thank, of course, Christine Cianci, who did all the beautiful artwork for Astro Theater, all of our figures. She can be looked up at www.ccianciart.com. So the key themes for February are very interesting in that we actually have a whole month without any retrograde planets. This is very exciting in the sense that if there are projects that you want to get accomplished and things you want to get taken care of, this is the month to make things happen. We also continue to have many third quarter aspects, which, as you know, is the crisis in consciousness. It's the we didn't know that we didn't know sort of process and awakening to things that are larger than ourselves, situations, projects, relationships, and things that actually began back in spring of 2023. And the theme that continues to happen over the course of these next few months is these stelliums or strong foci of energy in the signs. And in February, we have a strong migration in Aquarius that will be going on into the subsequent signs in the subsequent months. And is also, for this point, activating the great mutation point, which is where Saturn and Jupiter met and at 0 degrees Aquarius. The Pluto just came through there, Sun just came through there, and we have more planets coming through in the course of this month. On the 4th of February, we have Mercury joining Pluto and the Sun in Aquarius. This is a big shift of energy, moving this energy over from Capricorn into the Aquarian energy is going to be a real focus of what's going on. We're seeing humanitarian issues going on. Those of us, of course, because these are going to also cause issues for any of the fixed signs. So anyone who has Taurus, Leo, or Scorpio is going to also be affected during this time as well. Very strong time period. On the 5th of February, we have a conjunction between Mercury and Pluto getting completely lined up with the sun there. This gives us the opportunity to really talk through and speak to things that are really challenging and difficult, can be a little bit more forceful the way we communicate. But with it being in Aquarius, being an air sign, it's typically has to do with being a little bit more objective and a little more neutral in the prospect. So really good opportunity for time to address things that have been sitting there that are not working well and need to be fixed and changed. On the 5th of February, we have a third quarter square between Chiron and Venus. These are going to be bringing up issues about our loyalties, about our friendships, about our relationships, what we value, what we find important in our love life. Whatever was going on around the 3rd of May, 2023, this energy is going to be completely be reactivated, so to speak, from that birthing point. On the 9th of May, we have the Sun and Uranus in a third quarter square from Aquarius to Taurus. This is kind of bringing up some sort of an aspect of shock and change that needs to be done. Again, this is something that was seeded back on the 9th of May, some sort of a new birthing point, something that maybe had to do with finances or had to do with a way of doing things in an individualistic manner. This is a very interesting. Uranus rules Aquarius. The sun is in Aquarius, so this is a little bit more of a supportive aspect. In esoteric astrology, we call Uranus the birther of archetypes. So this is a really great time to see what sort of archetypes are new themes that are needing to come forth onto the planet or into your life. On the 10th of February, we have a third quarter square between Mercury and Jupiter. This began when both of them were in Aries on the 28th of March in 2023. Mercury and Jupiter Jupiter in Aries is a lot more activity going on than he does when he's in Taurus. And Mercury would have a lot more activity because it's cardinal sign. It's very initiatory. So now that Taurus is in, or has been for some time in Taurus, which is a fixed sign, and Mercury's in Aquarius, which is a fixed sign, it's saying something about bringing a fixity to whatever that idea was, or maybe that it became too fixed, whatever that idea was that started on the 28th of March in your life, and that needs to be changed. Something needs to be adjusted. This is the 10th of February. On the 12th of February, we have Mars moving in and joining Pluto, Mercury, and the Sun in Aquarius. Again, this is at that 0 degree point of Aquarius where the great mutation happened. We now have 4 planets in the sign of Aquarius activating that energy and bringing forth these ideas of what is right human relationship, what is the right way in which we take care of ourselves in the for being special in our own way, and also how do we acknowledge and support the specialness that everyone has as well. With that Mars coming into Aquarius out of Capricorn, it's going to be rethinking how it goes about doing business, rethinking how it wants to do things, setting up a little more of structures and ideas for organizations. This is really, again, great opportunity for getting a lot of stuff done, reviewing and seeing what has been going on organizationally. Aquarius works really well with organizations. So if you belong to an organization or your business is large enough that it is an organization, now's the time to really kind of look at and review what maybe needs to be done and overhauled over there. With Pluto in there, Pluto, Mercury, Sun, and Mars in there, this is quite a team for getting things done. On the 13th of February, we have, looks like, then we have on the 13th of February, we have Mars being exactly conjunct Pluto. I'd be very careful on the 13th of February. This is a very, in a traditional sense, Mars is what declares war and Pluto is what finishes the war, kind of like a declaration of war Mars gives, and Pluto is able to give the nuclear annihilation. But in Aquarius, there's a little bit more thought provoking aspects going on. So this is going to be a little bit more mental. So emails can be a little bit more terse or pointed. There could be an aspect of what needs to be done and transformed, and see what that is and address it. But there could be a little bit of a sticking point in this way. So I just be careful on the 13th of February. Again, Aquarius has also to do with ideology. So ideological differences. We could be interesting to see what happens in Gaza and Israel during this time period, as well as Ukraine, Russia, and Africa. There are a lot of conflicts going on the planet, and we aren't even talking about what's going on in North Korea at this moment. On the 16th of February, we finally have the last planet moving over from Capricorn, which is Venus, joining Pluto, Mars, Mercury, and Sun in Aquarius. We now have 5 planets in Aquarius. This is quite a focus. Again, it's activating that great mutation point at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Aquarius is traditionally ruled by Saturn, and in the modern ruler is Uranus. So there's an aspect of understanding and learning and knowing what it is that's come before, and then evolving and adjusting it in a way that works for the current moment. With such a focus here in Aquarius, I can only help but think that this is a great opportunity for us to be looking at the ways in which we are dealing with humanity, the ways we are dealing with our fellow brothers and sisters from other cultures, other religions, other races, other genders, finding new ways of relating to one another and working it out. With that Venus being in there, she's going to bring a bit more of that feminine acceptance in there. But one thing that was interesting about Venus, even though she's one of the benefics, she's also can be very analytical, and as ruler of Taurus, and especially as Libra, we can see probably a little bit more of a Libra-oriented operation while she's in Aquarius. Being clear about how things are being taken care of is probably the point. On the 16th of February, we have a Mercury-Uranus third quarter square. They met up originally in Taurus on the 6th of June, 2023. Uranus and Mercury are considered octaves of one another. Mercury is considered the lower octave of Uranus. Uranus is a larger planet and therefore gets out and gets things done. When Mercury and Uranus are involved with one another, there are accidents. There is a quickening that happens. There's something when we think of Taurus being ruled by Venus, and we have Aquarius being ruled by Jupiter and Uranus. With Venus already in there, we're realizing there's something that has to be done in our relationship to our finances, in relationship to our resources, in relationship to our ideas, and how we need to step out of the ways in which we've been before and choose something different. On the 17th of February, here we see this wonderful stellium. Venus is then making an exact conjunction with Pluto. We have Mars, we have Mercury, and we have Sun. I spoke to this a moment ago. This is anytime we have more than 3 planets, we call it a stellium. I like to think of this almost like a football team coming towards you. This is a strong way, the ways in which we have our values, which is Venus, the ways in which we change, the ways we transform and deal with power, Pluto, the ways we have our drive and go about doing things, Mars, the way we communicate, process, and think about, communicate about things and process information and move our body, Mercury, and the Sun, the way we shine out. These are all flavored by Aquarius right now, as we can see dressed up in this, set up offering the transcendental waters of Aquarius. This is what the flowers represent coming out of these vessels, the new age ideas of peace, love, and humanity. And so this will be a very strong time for those of you in relationship. This is a really big time to be making sure that things in the relationship are working out right for you, that you guys are communicating in the ways that works well, that nothing is being um, swept under the rug, so to speak, and not dealt with. This would be a time when things would be really great to address and come forward and discuss things and how things can be changed. Yeah, this is where I really like the idea of like Astro Theater kind of gives us this real sense of what's going on with the energies of the planets as opposed to just looking at a picture of the glyphs. And the other thing is what's going on at this point too. While this is happening, then we have Uranus and Jupiter squaring these energies. So we have it's a third quarter square from that Taurus to the Aquarius energy. So it's really, I think it's going to be a time of some shakeup this month. It seems like it's going to be kind of quiet, but in the ways the fixity needs to kind of wake up and do something different, will be interesting to see what shows up. So yeah, Venus and Pluto at 0 degrees, Mars is at 2 degrees, Mercury is at 19, the Sun is at 27, Jupiter is at 9 degrees Taurus, Uranus is at 19 degrees Taurus. That Uranus is still obviously, like we talked about just a second ago with the slide, squaring that Mercury, and then that Taurus, Jupiter is affecting the Mars and Mercury as well. So um, squares require movement. Squares require an adjustment. Something needs to be done to move these energies. And with it being fixed, it sometimes takes a little bit more. Fixity has a little bit of stubbornness to it. It can actually hold on to things longer than it needs to. And then finally, it really does has to break and then go on into the more mutable energies. On the 18th of February, we have the sun moving out of idealistic Aquarius and moving into the transcendental, spiritual, artistic area of Pisces, joining Saturn and Neptune in that regard. And so, this is the annual experience and the monthly change of the sun going into the different signs. So this is now going to be moving out of a more heady oriented Aquarius into a more feeling and sensate oriented Pisces energy. On the 21st of February, what is going on the 21st of February? Sorry about that. On the 21st of February, we have Venus and Mars doing a conjunction. This is their usually once every year, once every 2 years, actually, for Mars and Mercury to come together. They are the divine complements of the masculine and feminine. This is a really great opportunity to review the ways in which you are harmonizing and balancing your masculine and feminine sides and the ways in which you are going about either sitting in a place of doing too much or being more, finding that harmonic balance or that harmony of balance within doing too much versus being versus doing. It's, I think, one of the aspects with Venus and Mars coming forward. On the 23rd of February, We have another movement over of the signs. Mercury leaves Aquarius, leaving only Pluto, Mars, and Venus in Aquarius. And now we have 4 planets in Pisces. As I was saying earlier, we're getting these concentrations of planetary energies in the signs, which I think are really helping us to make certain shifts that we're needing at this time. So Mercury's moving into out of more intellectual and thought considering Aquarius and organizationally oriented and into more of the feeling oriented Pisces. Whenever I see Mercury in Pisces, I often think these are people who hear the voices. So if you have Mercury in Pisces, typically you have a good communication ability with either people who have passed on, could be animals, could be wildlife, could just be space and time. But there's just a difference in liminality and the ability to communicate in a way. And again, this is quite a focusing. We've got the sun. We got Mercury, Sun, Saturn, and Neptune in Pisces. So we're starting to get that nice, strong focus of Piscean energy to help us kind of see what needs to be kind of washed away and let go so we can move on to a new beginning again in Aries. On the 24th of February, we have Venus and Jupiter in a third quarter square. They were in a conjunction, meaning they were together back on the 3rd of March in Aries. So, whatever was going on in your life back on the 3rd of March in 2023 is going to be coming up for a reevaluation and a checking of it. Jupiter and Venus are considered the benefics. And so, and Venus rules Taurus. So there's a little bit of a softness in that regard, but still, it's going to be, it could be a time where we get a little bit too enjoying sweets too much or enjoying whatever it is that gives us pleasure and enjoyment. Jupiter and Venus, when they're in a squaring relationship, could be maybe there's a little bit too much of it. We really love ice cream, but do we need to eat 5 gallons of ice cream at one time? It's kind of like the idea with that. But whatever was going on for you in around the 3rd of March, 2023 is going to be coming up for a reevaluation and re-understanding. And again, this is third quarter square, has to do with crisis in consciousness and understanding that there is something we didn't realize that we didn't realize. So it's good to think of it as kind of monkey mind. It's good to think of it being a little bit more innocent and childlike in that, oh, I didn't know that, and have some compassion in this space. That's I find to be really important when it comes to these third quarter squares. On the 27th of February, we have a Mars Jupiter third quarter square. These were together on the 3rd of March when both were in Aries again. Um, these are two fixed signs, and with Jupiter there and Mars, there's a desire to move, but maybe there is a feeling that one cannot move forward in the way they want to on the 27th of February. There might be something that shows up that began as a theme back on the 3rd of March, 2023, that maybe like the right pieces aren't there or there's being too much push. Remember what I was talking about earlier with pushing versus being. Mars wants to push things along. I would say go ahead and push if you want. It'd be interesting to see what breaks through, but it might be better actually just to be in a state of patience and waiting to see what happens at this time and see what unfolds. Would probably be a better understanding to see what the experience is. I don't recommend really pushing when Mars is in a square relationship. Things tend to get broken. On the 28th of February, we have Mercury moving into a conjunction with the Sun. This is what we call a cazimi. We really, from our standpoint here on Earth, and actually anywhere in the solar system, whenever, well, actually further out in the solar system, we probably wouldn't even be able to see Mercury in relationship to the Sun. But from our position here on Earth, when we are in an inferior conjunction, meaning that Mercury is in front of the Sun between us, the Earth and the Sun. We really can't see it because the Sun expresses so much light and so much power and energy. So it kind of occludes or hides Mercury's energy. So we consider that Mercury kind of gets engulfed or swallowed by the Sun. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist there, but it's a little bit more solar in its expression. So this is really a great time for getting clear about doing some journaling, writing, doing some podcasts or recordings, anything that's going to help you get into a more meditative and clear state. Meditation, of course, is going to be really great. Chanting would be really wonderful. Listening to world or trance music that helps uplift and find ways. This would be a really good time to do a journey and to see kind of like it's basically like a time where you can slightly lift the veil and see what's behind. Very powerful time, of course. Then he moves on to the conjunction with Saturn. This is very interesting. Saturn in the sign of Pisces, as we know, is very challenging. Those of us who are born in the mid 60s, and of course, there are other generations, every 29 years, we get Saturn back in Pisces. It gives us this opportunity to um, I don't know, but I like to think of Saturn and Pisces as being sandcastles on the beach. We build these structures, we think they're really important, and then a wave comes along and either slowly melts it or completely washes it away. So again, this theme of being is really coming up again. So how do we create being? How do we um, communicate the subtle natures of what life is about? How do we find structure in places that do not have structure? How do we and I think singing is a really beautiful way with that. I think artwork comes as a way of expression in this time. So Mercury expressing the boundaries or the structures and limitations or discipline that Saturn brings about is going to be very different in the sign of Pisces. So this is going to be really great about doing one spiritual practice, movement, starting new themes in that way are really well indicated at this time. And then the sun's also there. So quite a triumvirate. I should have actually looked up the last time that the sun, Mercury, and Saturn were conjunct one another. I don't think that's a very well, actually, it's at least a once a year process. Uh, but whether Mercury gets involved in it when the sun hits Saturn each time would be really be the question. This is really just bringing out the light for that and bringing out the understanding of seeing what is. It's a little bit behind those bigger theories and understandings of life. I'm very, very excited for those of you who are old souls and appreciate astrology and would like to learn a different way of experiencing astrology. I'm offering an introductory course on esoteric, or also known as soul-centered astrology. What's really wonderful about esoteric astrology is there's something called rays, which are the building blocks of the universe, which are an underlying theme within the planets, signs, and aspects. And I help bring forth these ideas in a way that makes sense. There's a whole new uh, set of planetary rulers for the signs. There's different ways that they express themselves. And also, what's really lovely about esoteric astrology is it not only will tell you what your soul's purpose is in this lifetime, but where you're likely to experience problems, challenges, and supports in your path of going from your ego to more of your soul-centered self. Really highly recommend it. Many years of doing this, and it always ends up being a fun class. This is going to be the third Thursdays of the month, starting on the 15th of February. Please visit my website, coremichael.com/events, and you can sign up. Please tell your friends also. And also with these, my forecasts each month, please share with your friends. Please like if you're enjoying it. Please hit a thumbs up. If you have comments or questions, I really would love to hear them. If there's something you'd like to see me do a little bit more in these monthly forecasts, I'm happy to add those in. My role here is to be of service and to bring forth the wealth of information that I have and offer it to you in a way that makes sense. So please help me. Happy when you guys are able to support me in doing that. Again, my name is Michael Bartlett, Master Metaphysical Astrologer. Thank you for joining me in following the February forecast and wishing you all the best in this coming month. It's going to be quite a mover and a shaker. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.